connected anyway. And as that starts to get in there, we'll be ready to go here. All right. So we're almost there. Zoom. All right. Hey, Eddie, I'm about to switch it over to you real quick. The ownership looks like Dick's coming in. I think he's confused about this call. If you can chat with him on the side, that would be awesome.
Okay.
I don't think he realized what call this is. Oh, he fell off the call anyway. Okay.
iPad is the host. Who's iPad?
Oh, iPad. Sorry, iPad. Didn't mean to make you the host there. For some reason, it moved on me. All right. So we are streaming live on YouTube. If someone wants to jump on the call out there in the YouTube world, this call usually goes at least 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes up to an hour. Just kind of depends on how many people have decided to join on the call today. However, the way to get on the Zoom call itself is going to meetbrandonlive.com. That's how you'll be able to get on this call. That's meetbrandonlive.com. And hopefully background noises won't be too loud today. It's probably just going to be mostly in my ear. And we have a little construction going on outside at the moment. I don't think anybody can hear that. It's not coming across for you, is it, Eddie? The sound, the construction sound?
Not at all. Nothing.
No, okay, cool. Awesome. So we got Paul on here, David, Josh. Awesome. So as usual, I do wait a few minutes. I do wait a few minutes before I, start going in and actually talking about the program itself a little bit. So, all right, let's see. It's almost 4 o'clock, and I'll kick into a quick presentation around 4. Now, I know some people might be here because they've already talked to a rep or something of that nature. If you want, if you had specific questions you were wanting to get handled today, you can drop them in here now. And then after I'm go through our quick presentation, talk about some of the new program changes, we'll go over some of the details with that, or we'll go over your questions individually is what I should say. And I have no problems opening up your mic at that time. Actually, that's usually what I prefer to do, so I can get really clear on what questions you might have. But if you do have any now, you can drop them and then at least give me some information. Or while we wait for another 2 or 3 minutes before I get into that, I'm curious, between the folks we have on here, iPad, whoever that is, David, Josh, and Paul, that's who's on here so far. If you don't mind letting me know in chat, have you spoken to anybody at our company yet? Or is this did you just come to this because you got something in the email or you saw a social media post? If you don't mind, just let us know in chat. And I see we have David. Okay, cool. David has. I appreciate it. Hey, David, do you remember who you talked to out of curiosity? It's all good if you don't. Might have been and Josh. Most people, if you've spoken to somebody here. Okay, cool. Thanks, Paul. If you've spoken to somebody here, it'd probably either be Ryan.
Yeah, I spoke to Ryan.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
And was it David? Who was iPod?
I don't know. It was iPad, and
And then they changed over, I think, to name. I just want to know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Either dropped off or somebody else jumped on. I don't see iPad anymore. So one of the two things has happened. So cool, Paul. I appreciate you checking out some videos. Obviously, I'll get into some little details today. If you haven't, I'll actually get into just a little bit of screen share mode right now, because in about a minute or two, I will be covering some other stuff. But if you haven't, you've just seen videos, like I don't know where you maybe have seen them, maybe some on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or wherever the case may be. If you go to our website, which is mortgagegrowthsystem.com, there's a lot of information here that you might find useful. We have a case studies page where you can see interviews with other clients. We have an FAQ page where we break down our most common questions in video format. All these you would probably find on YouTube already anyway, if you happen to be on YouTube. And then what we do is our demo page. If you're on a phone, it actually says demo instead of what we do, just because of the visual amount of information that can be displayed there. This kind of breaks down some stuff, but today I will actually break it down in a slideshow. We got a new slideshow set up for us to do that. So I'll just kind of get this ready in present mode. I'll wait like another minute or two. Again, if you didn't see my question, if you've talked to somebody here, let us know. If you remember who it is, it's probably either Dominic, Ryan, Alex, or Jake. There's some potential you've talked to somebody else like Eddie or Hector here as well, but those are the 4 I named initially are the main ones. So it just helps us know if we're getting you the information you need. But let's see here. What time? At 4:03. Okay, cool. So give me a break here today. I haven't actually really looked at this slide deck that much. We just had it built by the creative department here a little bit ago, but obviously I created this program, so I do know really everything we do here. So as you can see right away, though, we have some pretty interesting stats. There's well over 3 billion loans funded from our program, well over 2 million leads generated. We have been, well over 2,000 loan officers have used this program at this point, and we were established in 2016, which, as far as I know, makes us the oldest agency in the U.S. that is this type of mortgage marketing agency anyway. So we'll slide in. So, a little bit about myself. If you guys don't know, I've been doing marketing for 20 years. And obviously, as you could tell in that last slide, we started doing this stuff in 2016. I've worked with literally some of the biggest brands I guarantee you guys own or have used in your lifetime. Obviously, you can see some here: GM, Chrysler, Nissan, Chiquita, Ocean Spray, and way, way more than that. We didn't want to turn this into a big resume. It could have been 4 pages long, I can assure you. But we'll keep moving on to the important stuff here. So what I want to get into a little bit is our process and the way we have it. It's really kind of a 5-step process. And let me say this real quick so we don't confuse anyone. Today, I'm primarily talking about our home buyer lead generation process, not so much our non-QM real estate investor process. I can answer questions about that. The process is pretty similar. There are some tiny differences. So just note as I go through this slideshow, I'm primarily focusing on the home buyer lead generation type stuff, not the non-QM real estate investor type marketing that we also do. Those are pretty much the 2 things. But anyway, so when we're doing the home buyer targeting, we advertise you, yes, you, I said you, on Facebook and Instagram platforms with ads that attract people who want to start the pre-approval process, start the quotes. What we do from next is step 2, it's a concentrated funnel. So from there, once a person sees the ad and says, yeah, I want to do this, they go and land on a landing page that is also built for you. It's branded to you, has all your compliance information, legal information stuff on there. But more importantly, this is where they're going to answer about 10 to 15 questions, which is, what you refer to as a long form lead. So we want to make sure we make it difficult enough that not just anybody becomes a lead. If you've worked with other agencies before, know anything about Facebook ads, there's a lot of different options out there, which are short form leads. Those are really, really bad leads. Those are typically the kind of leads that are generated with about 1 or 2 clicks. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure the leads have to jump through some hoops. But there's also another reason. I will get to that here in a little bit. So the next step is lead management. So all these leads, they get sent into a CRM that we've already set up, created all the automations. And again, since we've been doing this so long, we've been able to really refine the process and make sure we have things that work. On top of that, because of the fact that we just collected all that long form information in step 2, we're also able to automatically pre-segment the leads into different categories based on whether they look like they're going to qualify or not, and then automate them differently. This also helps you visually be able to know, like, is this a lead that I really should spend a lot of time with, or is this one that it's probably not really going to go anywhere? The next thing is step 4. And honestly, I think this is super important. This is our sales and coaching side of things. So 6 hours a week, we have live one-on-one / group Zoom calls where we coach you on every bit of the process. That's sales, that's CRM usage, that's getting clear on how things work, or about building realtor referrals, all this stuff. 6 hours a week we do this. So and the way, again, like I said, the way it works is basically it's group / one-on-one. And what that allows us to do is to teach a lot of people the same stuff at the same time, and it allows you to learn faster, because you get to see questions. Like if you're a new person in the program, you get to see questions that other people are, that have been here for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and so on, are asking. So it kind of condenses your learning cycle, and it allows you to see questions you wouldn't have thought to ask and learn ahead of time. And it allows us also to do an analysis on your lead handling, so we can help you improve that part. And then now the step 5 is guarantees and trial periods. And we're actually going to get a little bit into that today, because we have some new options that we are launching right at this moment. And I think that might be the next slide. Not yet. So it's going to be the one after that. But anyway, I kind of explained what we just did here. The last thing that I will point out is like the bonus stuff right here. Agent stacking. You might have seen some of our videos where I talk about that. What we know is that statistically, the vast majority of the leads that we generate, they don't have a realtor yet. And the agent stacking strategy is where you take those leads, whether they're pre-approved or not, and you're building relationships by referring them out to realtors. We've built many referral partnerships this way, and it's a much easier foot in the door process rather than trying to get people to go have coffee with you, have lunch with you, or you telling them about your programs, so on and so forth, doing all the stuff that other people do. Obviously, if you can come to a realtor and say, hey, I have some leads that could be valuable to you, or even better, I have a pre-approved buyer that needs to go and find a home ASAP, this is quite powerful. The second bonus is our appointment setters. And actually, in some of our new offers, these are included. This is an in-house team. Let me say that again, in-house, meaning this is not an outsourced team. This is actually a team that it works with us directly. All of them also have 5+ years experience doing this exact sort of thing. So they help, book calls for you, get, manage your pipeline, even get applications put in. So anyway, let's move on. I think this next part of the process is the no-brainer program part of it. So no long-term contracts, 14-day money-back trial guarantee, appointment setters included, and best guarantee in the industry. And so this is actually the new stuff that you might not have seen yet. Unless you've just talked to us in the last couple of weeks, you probably haven't seen this yet. So basically what we're doing now is a no long-term contract option. So what we are designing currently is a 6-month program, but we're not going to lock you into it. Here's the thing. I'm going to be super, super clear. Our process works, but it does not work during a short period of time. I can tell you that most people will not see clear success or even where we're taking them until they've been in our program for at least 3 months. And then at 6 months is where most people experience the total fruition of our entire process. I can also tell you this, that generally speaking, we lose very few clients that stick with us throughout in a 6-month term, because at that point in time, they're usually quite ROI positive and they're very clear on what the process of what we're putting in place. So, but that being said, I understand people get uncomfortable with long-term contracts, especially if you don't know us. So what we have now structured is that you'd basically, if you were joining our Done For You program, this would be, you could get out of that in 60 days if you wanted to. So you wouldn't be able to take advantage of our new guarantees that come to fruition at the end of the cycle. However, we don't want to lock you in. So we understand that sometimes people do things that, maybe just aren't a fit for them. But that kind of brings me to the next thing, the 14-day money back trial period. So this is the new thing that we're also adding. Is I understand, again, there's a lot of options out there to buy leads or marketing companies, things of that nature. And you're not necessarily certain of, is that company good? Are they legit? Is what they do a good fit for me even? So what we're allowing you to do now is to participate in any of our programs with a 14-day trial period. Essentially what happens then is we allow you to peruse through our basically hidden information that only the clients get to see. You get to join these coaching calls. So you get a real world experience of working with us, plus seeing our clients through, actually in the process of dealing with leads. So you have a real world, complete, transparent taste of what we're doing. As long as you do not onboard with us and cause us to do a bunch of onboarding work, which is quite extensive, you have 14 days, you can get a full money back guarantee on that. And you say, hey, this isn't for me. I've been here enough. Cool. You're out. We'll get you a full refund. So we're really trying to pull back the curtain for people who are serious in our process here. Of course, we're still going to make you invest in that. This isn't something that you just say, hey, I just want to do it, and you get to do it without an investment. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We want to know you're at least somewhat serious about experiencing the trial. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen anybody in any other thing ever do anything like that. And we thought that this would be a good way to really show you what we do. Now, the last thing, appointment setters included. So in our new Done For You program, the appointment setters are included. It's part of the process now. Previously, they were optional depending on which program you're in, but now they're just included. And then the last thing I think is probably the most important, is that now we have a guarantee that you will close 12 loans by the end of a 6-month period. And I don't want to belabor this too much, but essentially that's 12 loans produced from the entirety of our marketing, which could include referrals from agents as well. So if this part is interesting to you, I can definitely like break this down a little bit more in the FAQ part, or if you speak to someone, they can talk you through this. For the people that have already talked to a rep and you didn't see these options, you probably just talked to us before we rolled them out. This is literally getting rolled out basically as of this week and maybe last week. I'm not exactly sure on the times. So anyway, as far as the ad platforms go, we run the ads on the Meta platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, and all the other sub platforms. Some of you know they just created a new one called Threads, which will actually have ads on it in the next coming week, according to Facebook or Meta anyway. So essentially what we're doing is we're finding people who've expressed interest in getting a mortgage or buying a home, or in the case for a non-QM category that, want to buy, an investment product for their investment property, basically. So retargeting, that's another piece. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Some people have, and they're curious about it. So this is where we're basically going back and showing the ads to people who've expressed some interest, but didn't become a lead the first time. That usually means they clicked on the ad, they looked at the ad, they went to the landing page, maybe started filling it out, but didn't do it. A lot of times we just need to get back in front of them a few times before they say, okay, you know what, this person must be legit. And so this is definitely part of our process too. So some people call it remarketing. Retargeting is really more the common term of it. So when we do this, we do create unique ads for you. Everybody gets their own, spin and unique ads that fit their situation. Here we have just a few examples of the different types of ads we do for both home buyers and investment loans, as you can see. And then let's see, the next one is kind of measuring conversion rates. So this is some I think I will leave because I know a lot of people have FAQs or questions they want to ask about this stuff, and we can definitely talk about it. I know there's a slide in here that I definitely want to get into. Agent stacking, of course, I did just talk about that, so I got a little ahead of the curve here as far as that goes. But what I didn't cover when I talked about agent stacking is co-marketing. So one thing that a lot of people will do, and they'll use our program, they'll actually join up with a realtor. And we can do 50-50 billing. So like where the realtor gets billed half of it, you get billed half of it. So it's a compliant process, and that can be quite effective for some teams. Other loan officers do like to more leverage the agent stacking strategies because they can involve more realtors with that process. So that would be dependent upon you. I know sometimes the investment can be a little easier to handle if you're going to split it 50-50 with somebody else, like a realtor. So in that case. So anyway, we talked about sales and coaching, got a little ahead of myself here on that slide. Like I said, since I'm not used to using the slide deck to explain all this stuff, appointment setters kind of covered all that. So I'll skip that. Let's see here. Success is a journey, not a destination. So I did touch on that a little bit. And I always really like to take the opportunity when I'm on these calls to really talk about that stuff. I think, honestly, one of the things that shoots a lot of people who do any type of marketing for themselves or their business in the foot is that they don't understand how long it really takes for marketing to work. And so what we know is that there's a very clear trend after 7 years. And I would say after 20 years of my experience doing marketing, is that 1 to 2 months is never enough time for people to produce the kind of results that they're looking for. Usually what's going to happen in almost any industry, any situation, is that you need to make an investment that's going to be larger than your immediate return on investment. So a lot of people will be like, okay, I want to invest, like a third of what I would make off a loan and then make a loan off that. That's not how that works. There's always a delay between when you make your investment and when your return on investment happens. We have a chart that's going to come up here in a second that kind of shows you this stuff. But again, I can't stress enough, our process, and really any mortgage marketing process, is not going to be that effective unless you do it for 3 to 6 months. If you're looking for a quick, save the day situation that's going to turn everything around for you, like in 30 days, it's not going to happen. I've never seen that in any other, any industry whatsoever, nor any other mortgage marketing option out there that I'm aware of. So if you've done something like that and you got lucky, cool. That was probably just a luck, and it's not replicatable. Sometimes we even have clients that have amazing results within the first 30 days. I usually have to tell them, hey, that's, you got lucky, basically. I wouldn't expect that. Now, anyway, so like I said, the chart that I was talking about, what we know is that what happens here is this is, a fairly basic general version of what's happening. But, in month 1, the blue part, if you can't see this, says new leads. Yellow says total amount of leads. And so as you can see, the new leads stay relatively the same across the board unless you increase your ad budget, but your total leads start to build and build and build. And then what happens is your closed loans and your total loans closed follow way after that. And so this is why we really want to try to get people across, the 3 to 6 month threshold, because then it usually becomes pretty clear about where things are going. So again, this is a real simplified version of the chart, but it's the best we can do. It's very difficult to show you like a chart that would be precisely accurate. So either way, basically, this is the last part I'll say for this is that, if you're, successful loan officers, they focus on customer service. They want to help clients, because what you're going to find is that your clients are going to be, some of them will be, or I should say the leads will be in one of 3 buckets: ready now, ready soon, ready later. And if you're customer service oriented and focus on that stuff, you'll be able to help the biggest bulk of your clients, which are going to be in the ready soon and later category, not the ready now. And what I mean by that when I say that is that ready now means like somebody wants to apply for a loan and close on a deal like ASAP. Most people that we're capturing are going to be a little bit earlier in that process, hence the reason they do not have a realtor yet, and hence the reason why you can take advantage of that aspect. So if you are customer service oriented and focused on that, it's much easier to build this momentum that happens through our marketing process, and really any legitimate marketing process would be the same. So you need to be a little bit passionate for sales. If your head's in the weeds and all you're trying to do is be, like the best person that puts a file together, that's important. I'm not going to argue that, but you need to have, some sales focus as well. Thinks creatively about how to solve problems. Actually, perfect example today, I was talking to a client on one of our coaching calls. She had a client or a lead that was responding quite favorably, but it looked like they might had some credit challenges that probably could be repaired. What I reminded her was that she needs to go and help them, advise them. Based on what the lead was saying, it looked like that lead would probably take the actions to become do the credit repair stuff that she needs to do. But while she's there helping her, the loan officer is helping guide this client. She needs to ask for a referral, right? That's not super creative thinking. But when I said that to her, she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I would have forgotten to do that." So simple things like that. You don't have to be the world's most creative problem solver, but there's great ways to leverage everything we're doing. Because basically what we're doing is creating a lot of opportunities for you. And if you know how to make the most of every opportunity, it's real easy to make this process work. So again, that's what we were kind of getting into. So the other thing is, I've gone on and on about our coaching calls. It is really important that you're able to join 1 to 2 of those per week, at least initially, which is probably for the first 2 to 3 months of working with us, till we've shown you all the best practices, seen all the scenarios you've worked through, so that we can kind of say, okay, this is what you need to do in this situation. So also, as I've harped on a lot, once a long-term strategy, we're not a short-term strategy. This is not a short-term solution. So I definitely want to look at us for that. So I think, anyway, so we have this last little piece, the 12 loans close over 6 months. So what we've basically based this on is the fact that you should be able to 3x your return on investment. The slide's a little bit off if you're an average loan officer. So an average loan officer, in my opinion, means average in the comp plan, average in home price, average in capability. You should be able to easily 3x your return on investment on this. If you're in better circumstances, you might actually be able to 4 or 5x your return on investment, as you may have seen in some of our case study videos. And actually this number's off a little bit too. It's really, you just need to be able to convert at about 3% to be able to achieve these numbers. And again, if we get to this end of the 6-month period, you don't, we haven't collectively, that means us and you, achieve this benchmark, we're going to continue to work with no service fees for free until we hit that benchmark. There's a few little stipulations along the way about what you need to do to make sure you're holding up your end of the bargain, but we'll definitely hold up ours. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is get off the screen share at this point. I think I've covered most of the things I need to. And that way we have enough opportunity to answer questions, because we're like 20 minutes after. So if I didn't get through the parts you wanted to see, I apologize, but hopefully as we open up the mic here, I'll be able to address any questions. So Eddie, has there been any questions going on here?
Yeah, there is. So the
Okay.
first one is, hi,
Andy's question.
are you going
Yeah, I
to
see
do
it.
a live stream Zoom for non-QM hard money leads on a different calendar date?
Not necessarily, Andy. If you haven't spoken to anybody here, one of the best things you could do is schedule a call. If you have, I can definitely answer questions on that today. I mean, we got 40 more minutes. I could push this a little bit longer than normal if needed. to answer questions on that type of stuff. Overall, just so you know, like the process that we're showing is really very, very similar. The only key difference, and I know we have probably a couple people on here that are non-QM focused. The only key difference is obviously it's not a home buyer that you're going after. You're going after somebody who's investing in properties. Some of those investors are new, some of them are experienced investors, and kind of everything in between there. One of the biggest questions we get a lot on that stuff is like, what loan products can, or what kind of leads do you generate for that? Really anything, as long as it's real estate investment related. Sometimes people see non-QM and they think, oh, well, you can do those banks, you're going to get bank statement leads and I-10 leads and all that. That's not what we're going for. Our targeting and our marketing, all that stuff is real estate investment products. So DSCR, hard money, commercial, lines of credit, portfolio loans, all that kind of stuff is really what we're going after on those. So the more, what I would say too is about that program is I only encourage people to join that program if they're super confident they know about non-QM. If they do not have a good amount of experience in that, you're probably not going to be a great fit. What I find is that, especially when you encounter the borrowers who are sophisticated and have done this before, they need an expert right then and there, and they need to sense that when they're having a conversation with you, and you need to be able to put them to match them to a loan that makes sense. The other thing I would say is that kind of ties into that is that I find that the brokers that have more wholesale lenders end up having more capability and have more ability to match people to loans. And so if you only are working with like a small handful, 2, 3, 4 wholesale lenders, you probably need to expand that a little bit to be more successful with this program. That way you can say, yep, I can do that deal. I'm going to match you with this one. Yep, I can do that deal. I'm going to match you with this one. The more you can do, the easier it is for that program to work. The last thing I will say about it is those leads tend to be a little bit more responsive, especially if they already have a property or almost have it. They're going to close a little bit quicker. So the return on investment can start to show up a little bit earlier. Usually you're still looking at least a 60-day window before you're going to close your first loan, as opposed to the home buyer side where it's typically going to be at least 90 days. There's always exceptions to the rules. I've seen people close stuff in a few weeks. I've seen people take 4 months before they close their first stuff. Those are the outliers, as we've all seen the bell curve before of averages. I'm mostly trying to talk to you about the averages up here, not the ends of the bell curve. So if I didn't answer any of your questions there, please let me know. Yeah. So Brian, we've been a little bit lazy about getting some testimonials. I'm not going to lie. I've been really busy working on trying to support our client base as opposed to like recording videos. There are definitely ones newer than that. I think our most recent one was probably about 3 months ago. So you might want to just revisit what you're looking at in there. It's definitely not 2 years old though. We do have some that are over 2 years. I think some of them on there might be even back from 2018, as far back as that. I'm not sure exactly at the moment.
Paul asked, will you be using my Facebook business page to generate leads?
Yeah. So that was part of the process, is that what we're doing when we advertise is we're advertising you, right? So we're hidden in the process. We're just the technicians on the background making all this magic happen. It's you that's the forefront. So it's your Facebook business page. Like I said before, when they go to the landing page, it's you that's featured there. It's your information. It's your legal information. It's your phone number, email, yada, yada, so on and so forth. So we're hidden in the background. You're the forefront. And that's actually the way it needs to be. I know a lot of competing agencies, air quotes, don't do it that way. In my opinion, that's really stupid. There's 2 reasons. One is technically it's not compliant to do it in any other way. But 2 is we need to start building trust with those leads immediately. I know a lot of them will end up like trying to find more information about you, maybe look at your website, Google, whatever the case may be. And we want to support that process as soon as possible, building trust. Internet trust levels are lower than ever. And so it's really important that that's part of it. So anyway.
Ezra.
Cool. There we go. Chrissy popped in something there. Hey, Ezra, sorry. Let's see. Is his question in the chat? Oh, there we go.
Ezra, can you please go into more detail regarding the guarantee to close loans? What stipulation does I need?
Sure.
To
That's a good question. So Ezra, I could be wrong, but we don't have a lot of Ezras we've talked to. You might be looking at the non-QM side of things that we don't have that guarantee over there. I just want to be clear, but but it's still a very good question. So I want to be, answer that. So, you do need to be able to attend at least 3 coaching calls per month. In the first 3 months that you're there. We do mandate that you're doing a few things in the CRM, which are very easy, which are basically just lead follow-up items. And then making a handful of phone calls, even though the appointment settlers are there. I mean, in a nutshell, that's really it. I'm more than glad to send anybody like the exact precise agreement list of items, but really it's just making sure you're you're actually participating in the lead conversion process. If you don't do that and you're letting the ball drop and you're not really helping the clients, I mean, I can guarantee you this won't work. Nothing will work for you. So basically we're just saying, yep, we're going to have you do a few things that are measurable, both on your side and our side, to make sure you're following up with leads. And honestly, I mean, if you're investing money in a program, any marketing, like you really should be involved with that. And then because our coaching is so focused and geared towards that, there's no reason why you can't have a total transparency and clarity on what we're wanting you to be able to do, basically. So hopefully that kind of answers that question. I'm non-QM. Yeah. We don't have that guarantee over there on that side, Ezra. That's why I figured that was you. But yeah, this is more to the home buyer side of things. Is the process is a little different over there. Let's see. And if someone has more questions, like I said, I have no problems opening up the mic. Sometimes it's a little easier for me to get the question that way because I can hear, what you're really asking me. Sometimes it's not what you said. If someone wants to unmute, first person to unmute to ask me a question, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll just jam on your question. Sure, we have enough people here. Somebody has to have a question.
Hey, Brent. How's it going?
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Just a couple of questions. So is the marketing concentrated in our specific area, or are we just looking, are we going statewide, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so that's a little bit dependent. So with the guarantees, I will say this, we do need to target an area that has at least 3 million people in population. So that would be dependent. Where are you at? Let me ask you that.
Sacramento, California.
Okay. So you're in a fairly heavily populated area. In your instance, we could probably cover Sacramento and like some of those surrounding areas, and that'd be about 3 million people is my guess based on so you could stay somewhat local if you want. That being said, I always try to advise people on real world data and information that we have, and things that you may know too about like your real estate market or the real estate market in general. There may be reasons why you would want to go to other areas. We definitely see people who like maybe are in Sacramento, but they're like, I also want stuff in, LA, or for instance, like why am I drawing a blank on the middle part of the state? That's even where I'm from. What's about the Valley area? Yeah. So yeah, over there, obviously that's probably like some of the most affordable homes in the state would be down that, whatever the interstate is there. When I lived there, I didn't drive. So I don't remember the interstate. It was before, it was like, I moved away when I was like 10. So I went where my parents went at that time, but yeah. So yes, we would stay somewhat local, but it's not going to be so local that it's like, just like your county or whatever. What we want to first off do, and this is an important thing too, that I'll point out, is that a lot of people, especially now with the market being not A+ market, is they struggle, but mostly that's because their pool that they're fishing in is way too small. Like if we can just get out and fish in a bigger pond, you're going to find people that are, doing things, that are wanting to buy homes, that are doing this, they're all doing that. And so that's a key piece of it too, is just to get you beyond what you can do in your local market, as well. So that would still be local in my mind as a online internet advertiser, but that hopefully that kind of answers your question a little bit. But if not, just ask me more about it.
No, that segues into my next question, which is obviously, we're in a soft market right now. I would imagine that the results would be XXX from what they are right now. So that sound about right as far as what it was hitting a couple of years ago, as far as the response and the rate hikes and all that stuff. People are freaked out. Yeah.
So what I would say is I think what happens is that you have a lot of, by fishing in a small pond, you end up hearing a lot of things about like, oh, they're super freaked out. They're doing, like they don't want to do anything. And I don't want to say that's like not entirely true. like, yes, is the economy and not that great of a spot? Is that affecting a lot of people? Have the prices of groceries gone up? Yes, all those things are true, and that can certainly impact things. But a lot of people, and especially if they're like a first-time buyer, which is what a lot of these people are going to be, owning a home or buying a home is a better option than renting still in some cases, right?
Very true. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt though, like the only thing I would say with that is like, for sure, like a couple years ago, especially when the rates were like, in the threes and such, would have been easier to qualify, a person. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That the person that is borderline today may have qualified easily, 2 years ago or whatever at this point.
True.
But yeah, hey, one day we'll all have a refi boom again soon though.
Let's hope.
Yeah, it may be a ways off, but I'm sure it's going to happen. It's almost inevitable. It's just part of the cycle.
Well, I was thinking about all those people, all the refis are done, but people that bought homes were in the 3.5%, 5%, 2% or that range, right? So it's like, it's all that perception, but this has been going on long enough that people understand where it's at now. So the shock of it is over, I would assume.
Yeah. That's what I would say too, kind of the piggyback off your last question is that it's kind of now the norm. I mean, heck, it's been about a year since the rates kind of, shot up quite a bit. It's, and 2 years from now, if the rates are still here, like people probably won't even think about it. Like, oh, I heard there was low rates, 4 years ago. That's funny. It's kind of like now when we joke about like people from the early 80s, have like 15% interest rates and so on and so forth. So, yeah, this, with time, everythhing normalizes basically. So cool. Did you have any other questions while your mic was open?
Ask the $1 million question, which is, it's coming.
Mhm.
What is the investment?
So it is a little custom to each person, and some of our options don't fit everyone. So what I usually just tell you, like, it's best to book a call, and I'm not trying to evade the question here. But I can tell you this, like, if you're looking at our done for you program and we're telling you that an average person, average market is going to be, should be able to 3x their return on investment, that kind of tells you, a little bit like the ballpark for that program.
Okay.
We do have other options. I'll say this for people that have been on our previous calls, we have removed some of the cheaper options that we used to have. What some of those allowed people to do was come in and be in our program for 6 weeks. And we just decided that we didn't feel like that was an ethical thing to do to people, because what we have found is that that's just not enough time for the average person to really learn and grasp the things that we do. So we want to get rid of those. It's not about us like, oh, we want to charge more money and make more money or whatever. We're all in this together, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, like, if I can't give you everything that you need to be successful and to turn this investment into something positive, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give you an option like that. And so unfortunately, that does mean, like, since we're going to provide more stuff, more service, more work and all that, we do have to, charge more. There's lots of people on our team that are working to make all this stuff happen all the time. And unfortunately, they're not volunteering their time. So but the key thing to understand is I just want to gear our options and solutions towards people that are in a position where they understand, comprehend, and appreciate the fact that we're like telling you, hey, this is not a short-term solution. Don't come in here for 30 days and think you're going to, like, blow the world up and it's going to be awesome. You're going to be a rich man. That's just not going to happen. 3 to 6 months. Like I said, I'll keep harping on it. That's where it's at. Obviously, we've put something in place now, though, so you can trial the program without any risk whatsoever. And then also still get out early if for some reason you're like, you know what, I figured out this is not a fit for me, or whatever, or maybe, who knows, like something happens in your life and you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready for a 6-month journey, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have a $50,000 expense surprise, and now you got to pull the plug on everything. Things like that happen, but so we just don't want to lock people into something that's not going to be beneficial for them, essentially. So
Just 2 more questions, and then I'll book a call with you guys later.
Sure.
So is the ad spend inclusive, or is that outside of the monthly, whatever?
Yeah. So what I didn't get into today, and I usually do, is done for you versus done with you programs. So we have a done with you program where we do not collect the ad spend part of it. That comes from your credit card. It goes, you pay Facebook directly. And that's part of the reason why I'm saying you might want to book a call, because sometimes when we talk to you, we figure out like, oh, wait, this one's not the one for you. This is the one for you. But the done for you option, that's the main one that I'm talking about today with the new guarantees and stuff. We do collect the ad spend, and that is part of it there. So hopefully, I know that can be a little bit confusing, but essentially the way I explain it is done for you is like renting the house. So you're renting the system and everything from us. We're making it all happen. Done with you is where we actually give you the system so that you have something that you own forever and is a income generating asset or machine or lead generating machine, whatever you want to call it. That still comes with a large portion of the same done for you aspects of the main program I'm talking about today. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but that's
thank
why
you.
sometimes the phone calls can help a little bit because
My last question is, what kind of guitar is that back there?
oh, nothing fancy. The electric is a Schecter,
Oh, cool.
nothing good. And the other
Right on.
one's a Yamaha. Yeah.
Nice,
Like,
nice.
I gotta admit, I don't play guitar much. So I'm like, I forgot.
You're too
Thanks.
busy. All right, Brandon, I'm gonna jump out, but thanks for the call. I'll schedule a call with one of your
Cool.
people and we'll
Awesome.
discuss this further. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you
Bye-bye.
asking questions. Yeah. So if anybody else, I mean, let's do that again. If anybody wants to just open up their mic, I can certainly answer some questions for them. Anybody else? My session here is fueled by your questions. So if you don't give me questions, I run out of things to talk about. And that's okay. So if anybody else has any other questions, definitely feel free to just open up your mic or hit the chat and I will address them for you. But otherwise, what I usually do is just wait like a minute or two. And if no other questions come up, I'll say goodbye for the day. But Walt, Matt, Josh, Brian, looks like most people are jumping off. So I'm guessing I handled most of the questions here. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to assume with the departure of people that I've done all that I can to give you the information you needed today. So I appreciate you jumping on. If you haven't booked a call and you do want to chat with someone or it's been a long time, you can just go right to the mortgagegrowthsystem.com website, or you can just hit us in chat right now. We can send you a calendar link, but there's plenty of every page on the website has a place where you can book a call or whatever. And so get the real full details specific to your situation on those phone calls. So Matt and Brian, any last questions for you guys? I appreciate you being on here. Matt's the last one. I'm going to assume no. All right. I appreciate you guys. Eddie, we can call it a day.